You're in the VIP lounge of an airport, waiting for a business flight, or maybe at a college alumni networking event. The room smells like expensive coffee and imported cologne. To your right, a guy casually mentions that he just maxed out his 401k contributions for the 10th year in a row. To your left, a colleague describes the headache she's having with the tenants of the third rental property she bought last summer. A third individual chimes in and starts talking about his brokerage account crossing a six-figure milestone you didn't even know existed. Meanwhile, you are sitting there holding a glass of sparkling water doing desperate mental math. You're trying to remember if that IRA you opened 8 years ago with $10,000 in it even exists anymore. You smile politely, you nod along. You say something vague like, "Wow, that's fantastic. The market is really doing great." But inside your stomach just dropped. Your nervous system is sounding a panic alarm. Later that night, you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning. Sleep isn't coming. You keep replaying that conversation on a loop. You wonder how, in the name of all that is holy, everyone around you managed to crack the code of money while you were apparently asleep during that specific adulthood lesson. The anxiety spiral begins to dig a hole in your mind. Should I have bought a house 5 years ago? Why didn't anyone teach me about compound interest when I was 20? Is it too late? Am I going to have to work like a dog until I'm 75? Pay very close attention to what I'm going to tell you right now. I am Buck, and I am going to shatter this mirror of illusions for you. What no one in that VIP lounge will admit out loud is that half of them are lying, and the other half are leveraged up to their necks. That guy complaining about his rental property didn't mention that the unit has been vacant for 4 months, his mortgage rate adjusted up, and he is bleeding cash. The woman talking about maxing out her retirement has $40,000 in hidden credit card debt that she keeps from her own family just to maintain appearances. They have learned to perform success because that is what modern society trains adults to do. The theater of prosperity. That cold knot you feel in your stomach exists because society handed you a success checklist, but forgot to warn you that this checklist was written in the 1980s, a time when a house cost $80,000 and a single median income supported an entire family, bought 2 cars, and paid for the kids' college. The benchmarks you are measuring yourself against are structurally broken in 2026. They were designed for an economy that simply evaporated. And yet, you internalize this guilt. You feel like a failure when you cross the age of 35 or 40 without hitting those phantom milestones. Today, we are going to look at raw reality. I am going to show you the true financial benchmarks for your age. Some of these numbers will take a piano off your back, others will put you on high alert. But most importantly, I'm going to hand you the exact tactical map to make up for lost time, even if your balance today is absolute zero. And here is the piece of intel that will blow your mind. Those who start late but start with tactical fury frequently overtake and crush those who started early and got comfortable. Let's start by gunning down the universal truth that suited financial advisors love to parrot on television. The playbook says that by age 40, you should have accumulated 3 times your annual salary in investments. If you make $80,000 a year, the system says you should have $240,000 sitting untouched in a brokerage account. Sounds reasonable when you say it fast. But the reality in the trenches is brutally different. According to the Federal Reserve's most recent survey of consumer finances, the median retirement savings for Americans aged 35 to 44 is approximately $45,000. Let the dust settle and understand what the word median means. It means half of the entire population in that age bracket has less than that. $45,000 is not 3 times anyone's salary. It is barely enough to cover 6 months of living expenses in a crisis. Therefore, if you are sitting there with $30, $50, or $100,000 saved, stop whipping yourself. You're already operating above the masses. The benchmarks that cause your panic attacks were created and perpetuated by massive financial institutions that profit billions from your anxiety. They want you to feel desperately behind so that you buy their expensive funds, hire their advisors, and pay their management fees. However, Just because the average is miserable doesn't mean you should settle for it. Being average in America in 2026 means reaching old age depending on a government social security system that is mathematically on the verge of collapse. Your goal is not to beat your broke neighbor. Your goal is to build absolute financial sovereignty. If you are behind your own goals, the natural instinct is despair. It is paralysis. You feel like you wasted your youth and the war is over. Lie. This is where I introduce the most lethal tactical concept in the market: contribution intensity. Catching up in your 40s is mechanically and psychologically much easier than building wealth in your 20s. And there are three mathematical reasons for this. First, raw firepower, income. At 40, you earn significantly more than you did at 25. You have more raw material to forge your wealth. A 25-year-old might fight tooth and nail to invest a hard-earned $300 a month. A 40-year-old professional, if they conduct a cold audit of their life and cut the dead weight, has the capacity to invest $1,500, $2,000, or even $3,000 a month. The brute force of your current paycheck annihilates the time advantage of the young kid investing pennies. Second, the logistical plateau. In your 20s and 30s, you are in the massive acquisition phase. You're getting married, buying your first car, furnishing entire apartments from scratch, paying off student loans. Your money evaporates into basic infrastructure. At 40, most of your major logistical needs have already been purchased. You don't need to buy a new refrigerator every time you move. Your wardrobe already exists. The endless treadmill of mandatory purchases slows down. Third, emotional callous. This is the silent advantage. Young 25-year-old investors enter the market, and at the first 15% drop in the stock market, they panic and sell everything at rock bottom, destroying their own compound interest. They are emotional. You, at 40, have seen crises. You have seen the market melt down and recover. You have been laid off. You have battle scars. When you invest now, you don't freak out over the headlines. Your emotional maturity is the perfect shield against market volatility. You have the firepower. But firepower without direction is just wasted ammo. If you woke up today and realized you need to recover 10 lost years, you cannot rely on trying to save more. You need a military protocol. We are going to apply the strategy I call compression recovery. It consists of 4 phases you will execute mercilessly. Phase 1. Stopping the bleeding, the blood audit. Your first move is not investing. Your first move is finding out where your hull is breached. Print out your bank and credit card statements for the last 90 days. Buy a highlighter. You're going to review it line by line. What you will find will make you nauseous. You will see subscriptions for apps you haven't opened in a year, monthly wine boxes or clothing services you don't consume, the club you never go to, the dozens of small food delivery orders made out of pure laziness. It's $30 here, $15 there, $80 over there. These little leaks seem harmless, but when you add them up, you realize $400 are evaporating from your life every single month. That is almost $5,000 a year that should be buying your freedom. Cancel, cut, and annihilate everything that doesn't contribute to the mission. You don't need to move houses, you just need to stop throwing money out the window. Phase 2. Toxic liability. Annihilation. If you are 40 and still carry a credit card balance from one month to the next, or have personal loans with double-digit interest rates, pay attention. You are on fire. This is a maximum level red alert. Credit card interest works against you with the same violent gravitational pull that investment returns work for you. You are paying 20% a year in interest. No investment on planet Earth will guarantee you a consistent 20% return to cover that loss. You're going to take all the cash flow you freed up in phase 1 and fire it at this toxic debt. You will focus all your energies using the avalanche method, paying off the debt with the highest mathematical interest rate first. Your existential priority is to zero out this account. Phase 3. Building the moat. Emergency liquidity. Before attacking the financial markets aggressively, you need to build a moat around your castle. 3 to 6 months of your vital expenses, housing, food, energy, transport, and healthcare, parked in a high yield savings account. And understand the unbreakable rule: this is not a fund for a year in vacation. This is not money to remodel the kitchen. This is the anti fragility fund. It is the capital that guarantees that if you lose your job tomorrow morning or your car engine blows up, you will not have to get back on your knees to the bank and beg for a loan. The moat breaks the vicious cycle of debt forever. Phase 4: Trench acceleration, the income game. At 40, you can no longer try to get rich by saving on coffee. The ceiling for saving is zero. The ceiling for earning does not exist. Your absolute focus must shift to income acceleration. Your career is the engine that funds your war. If you spent the last 5 years as a generalist, you are in danger. Generalists are cheap, replaceable, and ignored. You need to dedicate your evenings to developing a hyper-specialized skill in your industry. If you cannot say in a single sentence what you do far better than 90% of your peers, you have a fatal positioning problem. And here's the secret that separates the elite from the defeated. When you get promoted, or when you jump to a company that pays you $20,000 more a year, you're not going to spend that money. You're going to keep your standard of living locked and frozen at the previous level. You will take every cent, every drop of that salary bump, and inject 100% of it into your investment account. This is how a 40-year-old individual with $0 in the bank reaches a net worth of $500,000 or more in their 50s. The salary increase is not meant to buy a new car. It is meant to buy decades of your time back. Now, I need to speak to those on the other side of the spectrum. To you who watched the first few minutes of this video and thought, well, I already hit the benchmarks. I have money saved. I don't have bad debt. I won the game. Be careful. The market loves to slaughter the arrogant. Your danger is not being behind. Your danger is the complacency trap. I've seen this movie hundreds of times. A professional reaches 40 with an excellent financial foundation. He was disciplined. He sweat blood. But then an insidious voice whispers in his mind, I won. I deserve comfort now. And invisibly, lifestyle creep attacks. You trade the good house for a magazine cover house. You replace the reliable car with a German luxury SUV. Coastal vacations become first-class international expeditions. The kids go to the most expensive private school in the state. Restaurant trips triple. What you failed to realize is that your target moved. Every time you inflate your current cost of living, the magic number you need to retire explodes exponentially. The giant house didn't just cost the purchase price. It costs triple in property taxes, maintenance, insurance, energy, and furniture. It raised the floor of your survival cost. By 50, this individual wakes up and realizes that even though he earns double what he did at 30, he has gone back to being a stressed slave, running on a corporate treadmill that is now spinning at 100 miles an hour. He went backward, but had the illusion of moving forward. If you are winning, do not take your foot off the gas. 5 extra years of aggressive discipline now can buy you 15 years of total freedom later. And to close the story of that theater in the VIP lounge or the dinner party that made you lose sleep, when you begin to understand the real balance sheets of society, the curtain falls. The guy who bragged about maxing out his retirement account for 12 years? He has $1 million in the fund. Beautiful. But he also has an $800,000 mortgage, took out a home equity line of credit to remodel his pool, and has 2 kids about to head to college. He isn't wealthy, he is highly leveraged. One industry downturn, and the castle crumbles. The colleague who raved about her brokerage returns? She left out the part where she inherited $200,000 from her grandfather 2 years ago, and has already burned 80 grand buying a sports car that loses value with every mile driven. The deadly fallacy is that you are comparing your behind the scenes, with all the flaws, mistakes, and uncertainties that only you know, with the edited highlight reels of other people's lives. Everyone performs success. Nobody admits the struggle. Blind comparison leaves you paralyzed in the face of a situation that is mathematical and perfectly solvable. The financial benchmarks invented by the playbooks no longer matter. The only thing dictating your survival now is the velocity of your trajectory. A 40-year-old professional with 30 grand in the bank, who acquires the wisdom and fury to save 30% of his salary starting today, is in a tactically superior position to a guy with 200 grand in the bank who saves a measly 5% and drowns in luxury. The first will run over the second in less than a decade. Velocity crushes static position. The fact that you are absorbing this intelligence today means you have the advantage. You are in the decade of highest firepower and maturity of your life. The person who enters war mode at 40 overtakes the amateur who started slowly at 20. This is not wishful thinking. It is the undeniable result of the mathematics of contribution intensity operating over a long-term horizon. But feeling motivated after hearing this will not change your bank account. Motivation is useless against the global consumption machine. Tomorrow morning, you will go back to the grind, you will be bombarded by ads, and comfort will try to numb you again. To execute the compression recovery, you need an armored operational map. You need doctrine. It was exactly for men and women who decided to stop wasting time that I compiled the arsenal of advanced strategies into our operations manual. I call it the Order of the Day, 365 high-impact actions for your financial sovereignty. This manual was not written to comfort you. It was written to give you the step-by-step extraction plan. It will hand you the surgical scripts to perform the blood audit and annihilate the liabilities that institutions use to bleed you. It will teach you the exact tactics to accelerate your career specialization, force your income margin up, and armor your newly acquired capital against lifestyle inflation. It will replace your late-night anxiety with a mechanical, cold, and daily executed protocol where you will wake up knowing exactly what the financial mission for that day is. Access to the complete doctrine of the Order of the Day is unlocked. The official enlistment link is located right down below at the top of the description of this video and also pinned in the first comment. The resource you will commit to acquiring this tactical intelligence manual is insignificant. It is a fraction of what you will continue to lose every month on ghost subscriptions if you do not apply Phase 1 of our operation. The return the manual delivers is absolute command over the most important decade of your life. 10 years from now, you will turn 50. That will happen no matter what you do. The only variable is whether you will look back proud of the freedom machine you built, or if you will still be feeling the same burning anguish and envy at the next networking event. The old benchmarks are dead. What you do in the next 5 minutes dictates the rules of your game. The ammo is in the description. Keep your logistics clean, your focus narrow, and your freedom non-negotiable. I am Buck, and I will see you operating on the front lines.